like I need to comb my hair. Good morning. I adjust my mustache. Ah, ah, all right. So I have something sticky in my beard. I don't know what that is. There's something weird in my beard. Good morning, everybody. I'm here. I have I found some blue agate at the mine yesterday. More blue agate, and if you can see it here, if I can make sure that the light shows exactly what it looks like. Um, Now this piece here is from uh, a part that I haven't dug out yet. So this was one piece laying on top of the desert that looked like this, right? It looks like it's orange and crispy and been sitting out in the sun for millennia, because it has. It was. So I saw it laying there. And what intrigued me was it had this press mark from in between being pressed into the olivine and the way that it forms in blocks. I'm in the middle of working on a video. I'm going to get some footage from different pits and holes that I've been working with. And so this is from an area I have yet to dig, but I know where it comes from. And this is an one of those Al Gore compact fluorescent bulbs that kind of gives off. It looks like a yellow hue, kind of, almost like an incandescent yellow. So the color you see here may not be fully representative of the actual blueness of this rock. I mean, it is amazing. And here's another from a different vein. Uh, this came from an area about probably 100 yards from where this is, but there's a big variability in this stuff here, right? So in here you see that there is it's more of a gemmy blue. You can kind of see the light passing through it a little bit there. It's more of a gemmy blue, and then it's got red within it. Now, the old timers called this mine the Blue Devil Mine, because the blue was such a devil to get out of the rock. And well, if you know how to do it, it wasn't such a devil. But they were blasting with dynamite and tractors, and I mean they were really going after it. They were going straight into the basalt looking for the big blob within, right? And it all got squirted out. So the big blob within just came up into little bitty veins of blobbiness. So the main point of the video here is to tell you that I have stability. Remember, I was looking for stability in my sculpture here. This is a different one than I'm showing. Well, the one when I had it before, I had this big square thing that I had mounted here, right? So I had this big, let's see, it was mounted right here. For this is a swivel point, right? So I was going to use that as his guitar or his instrument, right? So we have this mobility here, right? When he's fully able to. Well, now I can hold him here, right? Because I have a now a hinge point that you can see here. There we go. So I've got a decent hinge point. It's got a tight screw, so it's a good stable mount. Uh, I have swivel action as well as a spring here, right? So I have this little spring, and this gives this the mobility here, right? So this can go up. I can flip the spring on the other side of the screw head right there, and it holds it down so that this can have full mobility here. And I also want to maintain the look of this little dude right here. If I'm going to get some diodes or resistors or something, and put there in the center and make this a little dude so he can. It looks like a little arm, right? He's got his little arm hanging down there, and it looks like he's holding something too. And you know how I like to have multidimensionality in my sculptures, so I'm gonna I'm going with this dude can also be, because there's kind of a body type right here, right? So we have this swivel action here. So that is basically, this looks like it could be hips. I could slap in another. Oh, yeah. See, there's a pin right there. So I can put another leg in there, and that would provide some swivel action and maybe attach a spring to it from here. I don't know. That's way beyond too much fluffy and that needs to be happening right now. So uh, what we're doing is I'm going to change the function of this little point right here. I think this is a good stable mount. I was looking for this the mounting ability here, and once I was able to get that, now it provides the ability for a front mount and a pro and allows me a little bit of room, right, where I got a little bit of room in there. Sorry for bringing this so far away. I'm still learning how to do this stuff here. So we have a nice slide action right here, and it's pretty close. So we have this much room to work with, right? So we have this. I think I'm gonna continue to work on getting this other mount here for the other arm. Once I'm able to get um, the other arm, now that I've got the stable mount, I know that uh, I have two different things that I can work with. I can work with these two holes here, right? These two holes. I also have the screw mounts in the back, okay? But then we're blending into the back side front of uh, what it's going to look like. So, right, I, I we don't know what it's going to look like, right? Because I got all these parts and pieces, I mean, really, all over my trailer. Because this is the only way that I can do it, is to be able to have everything where I can visibly see it, and then be able to, oh, hi, Dazed, how are you? I'm glad to see that you're here. Thank you for leaving a comment. So, what I have done, we have this ability here from, if we're looking at both sides of the perspective here, we have the ability of this swivel here to go up, right? So it can be from a drawn position. If this side was going to be let's say a gunfighter or something, right? So he can click that up and it's already done and drawn because of that spring action. And we do have the ability of this guy from this side, right? Now this guy can also be, can you explain me what you're presenting is meant to do? Short description. Wow. Well, it's not meant to do anything in particular because it's a piece of art. Um, what I'm doing is I'm making an articulating sculpture. So in some sense, it would be able to be sold as an NFT, as an art project for, let's say, a movie. Because this is not the first one I've done. I've got a couple. I've got I've got one, two, three. I have 4 projects here because some some things don't fit with other things. If that makes sense. Um, so what I'm doing here, this is a basis for fundamentally what will be in some point in the future a complete project. Because we all have to have dreams, right? So we have to have a full complete project in mind. And the thing here is that we don't have a full complete project in mind because we don't really know what the hell we're doing. So all I know is I have a face here, right? So I've got 2 eyeballs, I've got a nose, I got some sort of a mouth because it's a robot, right? So if we turn this bottom part here, right, those gears turn. I don't know if you can see that. I can hold it in the light better. Are you the only one working on it, or is it meant to be we? Well, I am. Well, it's I am. I am we. Right? We are you, and I are we. Right? We're here right now having a conversation in the ether. Right? So this is what we are doing. We are communicating about some sort of weird project that I think is weird, and you probably think is just as weird. And to tell you the truth, we are creating it. So uh, these are things that I put together. No, nobody else is responsible for my insanity. There's only one responsible person for the anxiety that we feel, right? So if we feel anxiety over something, it's our responsibility to control it, not force other people to control it for us, right? Yesterday, my power went out in my trailer. Oh no, Quartzites lost power, right? Uh, I just blew a trailer and a breaker in the trailer. So my mind automatically went and freaked out. And there's no sense to freak out until you diagnostically break it down until there's a point to where you have to freak out. So, what were we talking about? Here we are. So, I don't know if I have any room here to be able to attach something, but I do know that it provided additional capabilities for an object. See a little hole right there? That little hole means that I can I can tie something to that, whether it is a spring or whether it's a swivel or a hinge or another option. Um, and so remember when I was talking about we have to have something to look forward to in life? Well, uh, this is kind of one of those things. We have to have a purpose-driven life, right? But I'd say it radiates the feeling of creativity, surreality, and to be honest, I think there are people that will have great interest in what you're doing. Thank you so much. I I at some point hope it will create a dynamic for somebody to see, wow, there's potential in really making something interesting. And I see this potential for uh, stop motion photography, right? So when this gets done and completed, all these, this is not this is assemblage, and the screw and twisty, hingy type, uh, engineering type, engineering type stuff, right? Because we're engineering our creativity. Because I don't want it to be all soldered together. Because when you solder something together, it takes away from the intrinsic point of what's within, right? If I heated this up at any point, you see all that grease in there? There's grease and oil. Let me see if I can get this light in here where you see there's grease and there's oil in there, and all this patina that comes in here. That all this patina would go away if I heated it. I can't do it. Hello from Russia. Hi, how are you? So I can't. I have to use what I have here, and it is only what I guess we could say what God told me to bring with me to work on the pieces that I needed to work on to advance my purpose-driven life. Right. So we all have a purpose-driven life, and we are to strive to be our best. That is good. I would say your name, but I have no idea how to say it. Russian guy, Russian bro, Russian. What are you planning to do next? Well, as you can see behind me, the daylight is breaking. I I have this blue agate that came out from my mine yesterday, and Danila Ozapov, Danila, I think that would probably be the Danila. Yeah, probably Ozapov. That sounds very Russian. So this is the blue agate that I got out of the mine yesterday. This was just laying on top of the ground. Then it eroded away, and a lot of people walk over this stuff because, well, it looks like that when it gets oxidized and exposed to UV radiation. So luckily I know what color I'm looking for. You see that little orange in there? There's a little bit of orange in there, and that orange comes from oxidized copper. So as I was walking by and I saw it, what struck me is it had this little impression that was on top of the vein, sitting on top of the ground, and it was just like that sitting up. I popped it in half and I saw that. Now I know what I'm going after today. Today is Sunday. I'm supposed to be taking it easy today, but every time I'm out there, I'm kind of spending my own time with God. I'm out there all by myself. There's nobody out there with me digging in the ground for this stuff. So when I have all that time out there, it is just me and God, and discussing the Russian is okay. Ozanawa lime flake. So what am I planning to do next? When I'm planning to continue to work on this when I am not able to go out to the mine. Right now it is 37 degrees. It's supposed to get up to 60, 65 today. So I might go back out. I can get in another 5 hours. I do got another vein to work. I got it. My left. There's a good reason for always leaving your tools out at the mine, because then you always know that you're going to have to go back to get your tools from the mine. And while you're there, you say, well, while I'm here, why don't I just continue working the mine and digging out that blue agate? And it's fulfilling. knowing that I am creating a wealth and knowing that I'm doing something I love. I love going out in the middle of the desert all by myself with just me and a pickaxe and a rock hammer and going at it with and coming back with 50 or 60 pounds of gem blue agate. That uh, this quality of stuff is easily $100 a pound. So, you know, I I know where the wealth is. I I know I can cut. I've got my lapidary equipment right there, right? So I know I can cut at least 3 stones out of that gem grade full on blue material that's screaming will be screaming in any neck piece, any piece of jewelry. I know I can get at least $100 a stone out of that. So that little piece right there can yield me $300 out of cutting it on my wheel. But where do I spend my time? Do I spend my time going out in the desert and getting this blue agate, or do I spend my time cutting the material? I know that the blue agate is finite material. I got to work it when I see it. Otherwise, somebody else is going to come in and get it when I ain't there, right? So that's not happening. My first priority is getting that stuff out of the ground because I know that's where the wealth is at. This, my wealth and time, and I have, this guy's absolutely nothing, right? Do you know how many hours I have in this little dude right here, just in formulating how to put all these screws together from a basic motor that came out of a mechanical adding machine. I have got at least 100 hours in just putting this stuff guy together. And it looks like nothing, right? Nothing. Garbage. Right? Nothing but garbage. See, this is what it is. What it takes to have a dream is to know that I can create something out of this that will be phenomenal. I know it's going to happen because I know what I see with the ones that aren't finished, right? Because in order to finish it, you gotta fluff up your framework. So you have to build your framework, right? So I don't even have half of a frame. So everybody's going to look at it and go, wow, that looks like. And maybe you all have seen the Waltons where grandma goes to paint her horse carriage and just paints it up with white and then puts some swirls on it. And then after a while, she fluffs it up and then puts flowers and then puts the leaves on it. And then all of a sudden, it's this big extravagant piece, right? Nobody in the beginning ever thought it would be an extravagant piece. I don't even have my cowboy hat here handy that I made out of my old cowhide. One of my old videos, right? That I made a cowboy hat of it, and it looked like crap as it was being all sewn together. But you're always building your framework because you are an exception. You are building your framework until you decide what you want to be. You cannot see what you are going to be because God will gift you with things that will draw you in either way. And then Satan will also go in and draw you into certain things. Oh, I want to go to a concert and waste 5 hours of my time going to a concert, right? You spend your money, your hard-earned money, and you waste the time and effort you could be, is what I strive to have. Oh, thank you, Zach. I need to trim it up. I'm getting a little scruffy. But Aristotle, how are you, my man? Good to see you. So when we are all striving to become something better, we all have to build our cornerstones, right? So we have to build our foundations of how we can be better, how we can be stronger than who we portray ourselves to be, right? Right now, what do I look like? Do I look like a strong dude? No, I look like a scruffy guy living in a shack in a fifth wheel desert, putting garbage together and making stuff, right? Yeah, well, there you go. I've got a big dream with a book too. So, but it's a purpose driven life. We all have to have that purpose driven life. Thanks, Zach. But because I clean up great, right? I can twist this thing up into all kinds of stuff, right? And it's I don't even have any wax in it. It's just the probably the sweat in my hands, right? My hands are all sweaty and they're full of grease from this, right? Because I don't heat my stuff up. So I got all vintage grease and stuff that's all over my hands because I'm tossing this stuff around and putting it together. And I drank my coffee and I'm high on coffee. And but by the way, do not ever mix uh, buttermilk in with your coffee. Uh, it doesn't mix well. I much prefer the whipping cream. Um, it kind of leaves a. It's not. You were spurting with such a positive, encouraged personality. You are making my evening a good one. Thank you, Lime Flake. I am half German, as a matter of fact. My paternal. Let's see. My paternal. My paternal grandfather. Let's see. Oh, I'm half German on my paternal grandmother's side. My old world name. I guess my maiden name would be. Or am I Texan by accident? I'm I've driven through Texas. I stayed a night at a friend's of mine's house in Texas on my way here to Arizona. Um, no, I'm not Texan by accident. I might be Texan because my well, I guess that would be by accident. Uh where was I going? Let's see. Let's see. Oh, German. Old my old world name, my maiden name on the German side would be Arndt. That would be Arndt. Arndt. That many Germans in Texas. Oh, I don't know that. eh, it's a funny thing about America is you just never know where anybody is going to be because I mean, in in reality, really, if you break it down, if we're talking down on the spiritual level of who we are deep down inside, there is no race, right? There is no ethnicity. We are we are all we all have the one conscious thing that drives us in our brain, right? That drives us towards being good and better. And that's 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 beyond our race or beyond our ethnicity. I mean, what is it that makes us who we are, right? I mean, there's nothing beyond what makes us who we are than what's between us, you and I, that big ether, right? Sorry, I'm talking about the stupidity of racism. Oh, fuck. I don't want to say that because I'll get demonetized. I go old Kruckerberg. So, okay. I forgot what I was talking about. I got all sidetracked with emotions. I got my eyes all red and watery. Darn it. Okay, so what are we talking about? We're talking about uh, who we are and who we're becoming better, right? How are we becoming better? We are becoming better by increasing the dynamic of our spirituality. Okay. Sorry. I'm so sorry. Um, every single nation in the world, sometimes it's hard to understand why race should matter in America. You're absolutely correct. Race should not matter anywhere. Anywhere. I don't care if you live in Zimbabwe or Europe or America or Patagonia, right? It shouldn't matter. But that's the barriers that we have to cross. We can't cross those barriers because people are influenced by the art of deception. See, we we can be deceived, and we can inadvertently spread the diversion that we have with the deception that we feel we're being led by, right? So we can be led by the spirit of deception. And that doesn't make us wrong. It doesn't make us stupid. It makes us somehow we've been led by the spirit of deception, and our brains have been rewired to feel those negative things that we shouldn't ever have to feel. We should never have to feel those negative things because the negativity is going to do nothing but spawn more negativity. And that's the last thing we need in this world is more negativity, right? If we can learn to embrace what makes us all great, then we can all grow to become something better than who we are. And we can't repair the society of where we are unless we understand who we are. And we can't understand who we are until we understand who we want to be, right? So we can't, we're all different beings, right? We all have this history behind us. We have the karma that we grew up with, right? That is who we are, right? I've got scars on my face, right? That are all over my face that from things that have happened to me. So those are karmic scars that are never going to go away, right? Those those things have been created by mistakes that I've made, right? And that's who I've got a scar on my stomach. See, right there. You see that? Scar on my stomach? That's from when I slammed into a tree on the back end of a horse, right? So when I was 12, I was riding back from a friend's house, and I was I didn't have a saddle, riding bareback, right? Bareback and a bridle. That was it. That was all and a blanket. I guess I had a blanket. Uh, and so I don't even know if I had a blanket to tell you the truth. So I was riding back, and he was going towards a tree, and he wasn't turning, you know. And it's a long ride back from my friend's house. It must have been, I'm going to say it was probably 3 miles, maybe 4 miles, um, through the desert region, right? There's not many trees. So thank you. Thank you. And today's standards, you're right. Everybody says, you know, it's interesting that you bring that up because, let me show you another one that I got right here. This is another one that I got here. And the only thing that I see, right, when I make stuff, when I see something right there, okay, I see a big dog face, right? So I don't know whether people see these as the eyes, right? But I made those kind of stand out, right? So that those are the eyes, and this is kind of a nose that sticks out, right? So, and then in between here, this is I put some iron shavings in there because it's magnetic. Ow, this was stabbing me. So I don't, I because he looked kind of like a dog, so I kind of wanted to give him a frothy mouth. And this, I have this ability here. Okay, so this is basically just bolted right here. You can see that crappy bolt job that I got right there going on, right? So these are all things that are just ideas that are like this, that they can always be removed and redone, because I, this may not work here, but I got it wrapped up and tied and twisted, and it's going to stay there for a few minutes now. So you know, and I try to make all my sculptures uh, movable, so they can all retain some sorts of mobility. But there's always things I have a hard time applying, like these little things, right? Now, these came out, these are little arms that came out from that mechanical adding machine. You remember me telling, I was telling you about the mechanical adding machine, right? That the motor came from. It came out of this piece right here. So it, these are the little fingers that came up to have all the little stamps on the end with the letters and the numbers and all that stuff on the end. Now, when you break these down, it breaks down into little springs, and I get this little piece right here, right? You see that little piece? Came from right out of there, okay? So this provides another dynamic, right? All those little parts fit in those slots, but that one little piece provides something that I can apply to. Now you see I broke a corner off right there because I couldn't get that little screw out, because it's held in with little bitty screws. That's right. You see those little bitty screws? I take all those screws out and I reuse them, because there's nowhere to get those screws. there's nowhere in the world you can get those screws except for the machine that you take it apart from. Now, along inside that little thing right there, I get these little pieces of metal right here. And you can see those little dynamic right there. It's got little, 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 yeah, wowee, right? So a bunch of those, and then there's little springs. I think I picked them up. I put them in my spring box. I've got a box of nothing but springs that are anywhere from that big to that long for gates and stuff, and they provide swinging, and they provide that hinge ability and ability to move, and then provide also for the action of this here, right? So we have that little spring right there that's tied up. Now there's going to be another one put in there somewhere, right? That is going to be that's going to provide some different action somewhere. Now I don't know what I'm going to do yet, because I have to continually go through literally hundreds of parts. I'm no thousands of parts, and I don't even have hardly anything. I didn't bring hardly anything with me. Now in the an art gallery. Well, I'm working on that. When I get about 8 or 9 pieces, I intend to hold an art show and have an auction, and I will auction these off as an NFT. And as these are auctioned off as an NFT, I will, whatever anybody wants to do with them afterwards. I think that blockchain NFT thing I somehow works. I don't know how to do all that stuff. So, and I got to find somebody who knows how to do all that stuff for me, because I don't know how. And it would provide for another income that I would be able to look forward to, as well as seeing the piece of art that somebody else would make. Um, It's great to see. It would be great to see. I don't know how it would feel, but I think it would feel pretty smurfy to have seen uh, this and several other pieces of art work together in a stop motion animation photography where they will be interacting with each other and have full mobility, be able to make a picture of some sort. I don't know, maybe this is kind of like claymation, but I I they would be Pixar wouldn't want anything like this because it's not really animated unless they know how to unless they did. Well, I guess they would know how to do that stuff. But as far as using a real uh, piece, uh, I don't know. But those are those are my goals. And I found the stability that I've been looking for, and being able to hold this up on a platform. Now I have lots of platforms, but now I have to look for the bottom part for the foundation to actually hold this together, um, because we don't know how it's going to be held together. We don't know what we're doing. Remember, so we are looking to. Uh, when I showed this to a friend of mine, it was like, how do you even begin to engineer? And this was something. One of my other pieces of artwork was a oh wow, it's a sewing machine, right? I took apart all the parts of the sewing machine, and then I built this little guy. So he looks like he's a servant. So he's got big arms that swivel up, and they go back and forth like this. And I'm still working on the head, but on the back side of the head, because I do my pieces with two sides generally, so they can be viewed from a different angle. They they have to be able to be rotated on a platform in a gallery to be able to see all dimensions of the piece. Uh, so he was, and I had a Stradivarius violin attached to the back, and in the mechanical part of the sewing machine was this rotation that went up and down like this and had the ability of this arm to swivel back and forth. So when I had this ability to swivel the arm back and forth, I had the violin bow wrapped up in the arm that was holding this. The sewing machine was holding the violin, and the violin had this arm that was coming up and holding the bow for the violin. Well, I didn't do appropriate work, and it ended up falling apart. So I didn't account for the proper screws, right? My screw thread wasn't the same screw thread, and I forced it and I stripped it, and then the thread was the bolt that was holding the whole arm contraption together. So that whole arm contraption thing fell apart and went into an array of disarray, let's say. And I lost all confidence in the piece, and it's sitting up on a shelf. And I think actually this might be part of the head that I had on there. And if it's not that one, then it's this one here. I think this one might have been it, but I'm not. I'm working on that's another one I'm going to apply to something else that it's got a couple dynamics that I'm not happy with. So I'm going to rework them because it's always, as an artist, you're a perfectionist, so you always try to strive. Well, if you're a real artist, right? So if you're just a wannabe slap together paint on a canvas artist, You can do that, but that, to me, that doesn't emulate a real artistic flair, because there has to be some sort of to me, there has to be some sort of a creative draw that draws. I've never painted, right? So I've only painted a house. That's the only thing I've ever painted. Uh, and some walls. I painted a wall. Well, within the house. Yeah, well, okay. So anything that could be contained within a house, I probably painted it, other than a painting. So I don't know anything about painting. All I know is how to put stuff together that fits together, because I take stuff apart, and that's where God drives me, right? God drives us to do different things. And that's where He drives me, is to do something out of the box that not many other people have done. And one of them is to look at creating a big piece of art with something that we don't know what we're going to make, but we know we're going to make something great. We know that deep down in our heart that it's going to be, because we have to have that faith to drive us. If we don't have that faith to drive us, then there's nothing driving us, right? And if we're in a driverless vehicle, where do we go? We go right off over that cliff, right? And that's right, the world to come. What do we make the world to come? What do we make it, right? We have to make it together. Be that common drive, but we have to know that there are other people out there with the common drive, that they also want to make it come together, but then it's bringing it all together where the fruition of reality is the tangent of the past and the future brought together into, wow, let me see, into a, I'm going to break into my mental thesaurus here. Um, uh, the world to come. You answered it already. So I am, now I am looking to apply. This is the big square thing that I had on the other side here, right? So I had this guy, and this was the musical instrument that I had that he was going to play. So this is what I have put together. Um, I am not musical. I don't know anything about music, but I am drawn to making my uh, sculptures um, musical. I don't know why, because it's something I'm not. I can't make it. I can't keep a beat. I feel like Steve Martin in The Jerk, right? So I can't make it. All I know is I can put stuff together that makes it look like it's complex, and that's basically what I'm trying to do here. This is one of the parts of the machine that came out of the mechanical adding machine. It provides a lot of complexity in the movement, right? So I can I can twist it around with these here, so I can maneuver that, the springs and everything in different ways. And this has some mobility here. They kind of blend up together there, and I don't know if it's going to work. I do have a swivel mount here on the back side that is a pressure gauge. It's a steady mount. It's bolted right there in the back. You can see that bolt there. It's bolted there, so it provides a good steady mount, and a good swivel is mounted right here. Uh, that may come loose, but I don't think it will. It's pretty well threaded within that compound, so it's a good attachment. The guitar serves as basically a washer for the bolt, which is the good option because you have a little bit of movement, but it's not enough to be able to move it back and forth. And the gravy ladle is a silver plated copper um, implement. So uh, the sliding action of the bolt here, that sliding action will provide as a smearing mechanism for the metal, which means that it won't grab, it will slide and be able to uh, create its own slippery surface. So it will be able to, once again, we're looking for the stop motion animation photography things, right? So uh, when somebody asked me how I was able to even engineer these things, I don't know what I'm engineering. So we're just know that we're creating something that nobody else has done. I'm preserving all of these parts right here. These all of these parts have a historical significance in how humanity increased in knowledge. Okay. All of these engine parts, all of these things all come out of a very vintage material. Uh, I take things apart, I salvage them, and I put them into separate containers. There's a lot of things in life that we want to achieve, and there's a big special dynamic that I have in my life. Can you show us around your place or behind the scenes a bit? You could add something to the back once and build something similar. You put it, make it look like it's playing it. I'm I did not get a feeling that we are humans. Oh, sorry, I'm catching up on all this stuff. I'm sorry. uh, I'm I've been talking and I see a flip, but I I get so easily sidetracked that I can continually lose my train of thought. So it something that some people have a hard time dealing with. So I'm so flighty and all over the board, and it's right now it says it's 8:46 here in Arizona. So I'm feeling itchy, like I need to get out to the mine and start digging stuff. Um, and I didn't, there's something I just noticed right here that there's a there's a little dude right there with two eyes, and he's got a little mustache, right? Doesn't it look like he's got a little mustache? He can wiggle his mustache in the stop motion photography. I got to put some eyes in there. Oh man, that's great stuff right there. Look at that. Oh man. Oh, see, this is what I'm talking about with different perspective, right? If we look at the quantum physics of it all, right? Whether there's a positive and a negative, and one something happens to one, something happens to the other, correct? That's the quantum physics that we're talking about. That when some's taken away, something else happens. Okay, well, it's the same thing with these. When the sculptures, right? When you're making something that can have more than one dimension, even three or four dimensions. I've well, ideally we all have really six dimensions, right? But who we have six dimensions. Who we who we are from above, who we are from below, and who we are from all around, right? So we have these things that we emulate around us that we can we can raise ourselves up and elevate ourselves above who we are, or we can denigrate ourselves down to who we don't want to be, but we're drawn to, because we're drawn to the gravity. We're drawn to Mother Earth. We're drawn downward, but we have to strive to be upward. So we have to strive to go beyond the tangibility of realness, right? What's tangible and what's not tangible. Is love tangible? Is kindness tangible? Is hate tangible? Is envy tangible? Is there's so many things that are not tangible, right? But because of those things, we strive to make those things tangible. We have to also believe that they are either positive or negative. And how we apply the negative and the positive to other people is how we grow. And that's how we have to grow. We have to apply the positive to the other people, to bring them up, to raise them to the level that we are, because we are always striving to achieve better than who we are, right? At least we should be. We should. Anybody can anybody can be a drug dealer, right? Just go out the local corner and talk to your local dude and buy some drugs. Well, there you go. You're reselling them. There you go. Gold cheap. You're a drug dealer. Okay? Yeah. But to be an artist who preserves all these things aren't made anymore. Who's going to make these? Nobody. Nobody's going to make these, man. Come on, man. Nobody's going to make those things. Nobody's going to preserve them. They all want the scrap metal price. Yeah, 10 cents a pound. Throw it away. No, man. When I can preserve something like this that can be preserved in 100 years, can you see in 100 years? Or any of these parts are going to remember how to? No, they've got to all go back to a drawing board, a microfiche document. Nobody's going to save all these things for me. You want to know what my real dream is? My real dream is to have a studio on a town square where I can have a bunch of these sitting in the window, right? And I want to have special needs children, people, teenagers, young adults. I don't care who. I don't care the age. I don't care the ethnicity. I care the want and the love to be able to create something great out of that can be historically significant. The generations in the future, nobody else is creating this stuff. Nobody else is saving it. Throwing it in the scrapyard. You can't be throwing it in the scrapyard, man. All these things, this is the erector set of humanity's past. This is the erector set of, well, we didn't have anything like this. We had a erector set. It was basically just pull pieces of bent metal and screws and bolts. You could put stuff together to make trusses. No, man. This is the real erector set, where everything has to fit together. And I want to take all these things apart, and I want to categorize it, and I want to have all these people be able to create something that's beautiful out of all these pieces that people are throwing away and destroying what we've made, our history, how we have become something so much better than what we are now. Because we're destroying what we were, and we can't destroy what we were. We can't tear down the humanity and the statues, the parts and the pieces that we only have these as examples. They're never going to be made again. They don't make those type of stoves anymore, right? This is a gas stove. Nobody makes it anymore. Nobody has the blueprint. Well, I guess what? Crazy Uncle Todd's got the blueprint right here. Look, it's already formed. Cannot create our future without discovering our past. And we've done that through archaeology. Sorry for being emotional and stuff. I don't get emotional very often. That's when I get heartfelt about stuff like this. It's disappearing from our lives. Nobody cares. I want to have place where people can bring stuff like that. And I can have people take it apart and put these into sculptures, into a big studio where people can come and actually come and work, and they can handle the pliers and the screwdrivers and put stuff together, right? Everybody has the ability to see something that can be created out of that, right? Can you create something out of that? How about two of them, right? Oh, now you got a pair, right? Oh, look, a pair of eyeballs, a pair of ears, right? They're right. There's so many things you can create, but where do we spend the time in our lives, right? Look at this. You know what this is? You want to see the complexity of stuff that they make in China and Pakistan, right? That's a pressure gauge mechanism that came from a barometer, right? So, but it's got a spring in there, and it's got little teethies and all kinds of cool stuff, right? So you can make it from small pieces to big pieces. You know, the love of what you want to be is the love that you create, right? So if you create what you want to be, you are creating your own book. You're writing your own novel. And there's only one way that we can create and make our novel great, and that's to continually strive to do something great for humanity. And I see, as many people see, these little stupid sculptures being, it looks like garbage all screwed together. Yeah, and it does. What it looks like right now. But and like I said, I've got hundreds of hours into making these things, right? And in just one piece, I've got hundreds of hours because I'd sit there and I contemplate where and what and how, and all these things being taken apart. I've spent it took me a day and a half to take apart a mechanical adding machine. Because I don't know how to take it apart, right? You don't know how to take stuff apart. You just start taking screws apart. All of a sudden, stuff starts falling off. And next thing you know, you have all these little bolts and all these little screws and all these little springs and all these parts and pieces that are framed to create a dynamic of something you don't know what it is. But if you don't have the tools and the framework to create something great, then you won't, right? Here's another one of my little guitars, right? And I went to an auction where I was able to get these are capacitors. These are little orange capacitors. They're all brand new, never been used, right? And this is a pendulum from a clock, right? And that's a resistor and little computer doohickey, and that came from a radio, right? So when I left these little pieces of wire on here, because, well, that allows me to be able to attach those to something else, or even allows me the ability to see it as a potential. You see, when I make something fluffy, right, you're adding detail. Now you see how I just have those copper wires just bent through the holes? That's how you tell that it's not done yet. It's just through the holes, so it looks like something simplistic, because in reality it is something simplistic, because that tells me deep down that I look at it and I go, that's not done yet, because I haven't put a little curly Q on it. I haven't finished it off. I haven't put a zigzag in and there's still more stuff I can attach here. So a lot of these things I get rabbit trailed easy, right? So when you get rabbit trailed easy, you end up wasting a lot of time in transition from project to project, and a lot of thought process is lost in that. So that's when we have to maintain the focus on our dynamic. The constant focus should remain on how well you spend your time. How well do you spend your time? Don't waste your life away. Don't do it. Each minute you waste doing something without the ability of having fruition and a drive in your force, that was what will take you away and will fritter you away in time. You will end up spending your time in transition from doing something. There's a lot of time lost in transition. When I go out to the mine and I'm focusing on my blue agate, right? When I'm focusing on getting that, there's nothing else in my world than getting that gem blue material that nobody else in the world has. Nobody else in the world has that stuff. Only me. That's right. That. Ah, that's the yummy stuff. That's the yummy stuff. Nobody else in the world has that material in their possession. Unless they don't know it, because it's from a mine from the 1960s. Oh, yeah. Uh-huh. So, nothing greater than mining this stuff out and being able to spend your time doing something great, right? This here is doing something great as well. I know that there will be a purpose later on. Will my stuff ever be in the Smithsonian? Probably not. Probably not. But I do know that there's a purpose. Whether it's just me making this video and inspiring somebody to do something, or whether it's just me talking to myself and Lime Flake from Germany, who has been very well, very correlative in our conversation. And I appreciate that, Lime Flake, whether you're still watching or not. I appreciate your interaction. It has been a pleasure having you in my life, Lime Flake. I appreciate your contribution to this world. I'm going to cut off now. It's been well over an hour, and I haven't really done anything other than transcend my life experiences to you guys. Whoever watches knows I'm going to be out at the mine today. Wish me well. I do hope to come back with some more stuff. I still got to unload the truck. I'm going to park downhill this time. You know, you're hauling 60 or 70 pounds of agate material up a hill. Ah, man, I'd rather go down the hill. I think I'm going to park down at the bottom of the hill and allow all these four-wheelers to come and pester me and make sure that I'm okay and alive. And I don't know. I tend to draw a lot of attention. So I appreciate y'all being in my life. I'm going to try to make myself useful today. We'll find out tomorrow. Thank you for being a part of my life and subscribing and sharing and commenting. I appreciate you allowing me to have a platform to have discourse, uh, common interaction, because I don't have any interaction with anybody. This is it. I go from here, I go out to my truck, I drive out to the mine, I dig, I come back, I shower, I eat. By that time, if I if I haven't done anything on the computer, I may throw a couple screws or something on something because I'll get distracted while I'm trying to eat, uh, and then I go back to bed, and then tomorrow it's Monday, and it's like, do I go grocery shopping at some point? Right? Listen, Todd's meal, cup of noodles, and and I had a couple burritos. I bought a loaf of bread, so I got peanut butter and jelly. So I've got oh wow, I've got 3 days of meals. I'm good to go. So I don't need to go to the store today. I was thinking about going to the store and buying supplies. Uh, I don't I don't know. So anyway, I am. Thank you once again. You all have a great day. I'm so appreciative that you have been willing to take the time to spend with me. Uh, Much love. Um, you all have a great day. I love you. Be safe. Bye bye.